Because it says she fell at his feet weeping. And all the Jews who were with her were weeping. Now there's two words for weep here in the Greek, and both words are used. The word that is used for Martha or Mary's weeping and the Jews who are weeping are this massive outpouring, very, very loud, expressive grieving that is very, very vocal, demonstrative. It's wailing. So you hear it, you see it, you can feel the tears. I mean, it is, and you have a boatload of these Jews along with them. So this is a very loud expression, outpouring of grief. They are weeping. And recognize in the conversation with Martha, there were words used, but in this conversation, emotions are used. Because it says Jesus saw Mary weeping and the Jews with her, and he was deeply moved in his spirit and troubled. Shortest verse in the Bible, Jesus wept. John 11:34. So this was an emotional conversation. And I want you to see that because some of us in the room and some of us online, we're more emotionally wired up. And just because we don't have those words and dialogue and what seems to be more logical, rational conversation doesn't invalidate who we are. And for some of us in the room that are rational and we use words and we're more logical, just because somebody else is emotional doesn't invalidate who we are. Jesus speaks with us, has conversations with us, exactly how we're organized on the inside. If you're more emotional and that's your hardwiring, fantastic. Be the best you can be. Be most authentic that you possibly can be. If you're more rational, fantastic. Be the best you that you can be. But be real, be authentic. Because Jesus has honest conversations with us. How we're wired up. And you don't see him say, shame on you for being over emotional and too dramatic, dial that back. Or he doesn't say, what's wrong with you? How come you're so detached and disconnected? Why aren't you more emotional? Jesus doesn't do any of that. He likes you. He thinks you're smoothie groovy. He thinks you're fun to hang out with, no matter how unraveled, no matter what. But I want you to appreciate that Jesus participated in the conversation that revolved around emotions every bit as much as he participated in the conversation that used words. Jesus participates with us in the way we're internally organized, are fearfully, wonderfully made. But I recognize that Jesus, it says he wept. And the word that's used here is different than the one that's grieving and the vocal, really loud one. This one is, he shed a tear. And then the Jews who are with Jesus, well, I'll do that in a minute. But I want you to think about this. Why? It says when Jesus saw the Jews and Mary who were weeping, grieving and wailing, he was disturbed. Jesus wasn't disturbed that Lazarus was dead. They were, but he was not. Jesus was disturbed and upset with their grief. He was moved by their emotions. I am fully confident that Jesus knew he was going to raise Lazarus from the dead. That was the conversation with Martha. So he wasn't grieving the loss and the mourning and the absence of Lazarus. He was deeply moved by the emotional expression outpouring that he saw and felt and heard. And I love that Jesus is moved by what moves us, by what gets under our skin, by what bothers us, by the things that are disturbing and cause us to be unsettled. That bothers Jesus.